नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयामुदीरय नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो नलिननेत्राय वेणुवाद्यविनोदिने राधाधरसुधापानशालिने वनमालिने महाभावस्वरूपास्त्वं कृष्णप्रियवरीयसि प्रेमभक्तिप्रदे देवी श्रीराधिका त्वं नमोऽस्तु ते। So we'll continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, the process of creation, and text number 23. In previous verse, we have seen that how Shukadeva Goswami is glorifying their Lordship. And in this verse, he is again praying to their Lordship, who has given all the potencies to everyone. And here he prays that, my Lord, please give enough strength to my words so that I can able to disseminate the knowledge that you have given to Lord Brahma. And here he says, Bhuter mahatbhirya ima puro vibhur nirmayashete yadamushu purushaha bhunte gunansho dashashodashatmakaha solang krishishta bhagavan vachansi me. May the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes which are his generator. Be pleased to decorate my statements. Purport by His Loving Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As a fully independent devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of a Godhead so that his statements may be successful and appreciated by the hearers. The devotee always thinks of himself as an instrumental for anything successfully carried out, and he declines to take credit for anything done by himself. The godless atheist wants to take all credit for activities, not knowing that even a blade of a grass cannot move without the sanction of the Supreme Spirit. The personality of a Godhead, Shukadeva Goswami therefore wants to move by the direction of the Supreme Lord, who inspired Brahma to speak the Vedic wisdom. The truths described in the Vedic literatures are not theories of a mundane imagination, nor are they fictitious as the less intelligent class of men sometimes think. The Vedic truths are all perfect descriptions of the factual truth without any mistake or illusion. And Shukadeva Goswami wants to present the truths of a creation not as a metaphysical theory of philosophical speculation, but as the actual facts and figures of the subject. Since he would be dictated to by the Lord exactly in the same manner as Brahmaji was inspired. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text number 15, the Lord is himself the father of the Vedanta knowledge, and it is he only who knows the factual purport of the Vedanta philosophy. So there is no greater truth than the principles of a religion mentioned in the Vedas. Such a Vedic knowledge or a religion is disseminated by authorities like a Shukadeva Goswami, because he is humble, devotional servitor of the Lord, who has no desire to become a self-appointed interpreter without authority. That is the way of explaining Vedic knowledge, technically known as the Parampara system or descending process. The intelligent man can see without mistake that any material creation, whether one's own body or a fruit or a flower, cannot beautifully grow up without the spiritual touch. The greatest intelligent man of the world, or the greatest man of science, can present everything very beautifully only in so far as the spirit life is there, or in so much as the spiritual touch is there. Therefore, the source of all truths is the Supreme Spirit, and not gross matter, as wrongly conceived by the gross materialist. We get information from the Vedic literature that the Lord himself first entered the vacuum of the material universe, and thus all things gradually developed one after another. Similarly, the Lord is situated as a localized Paramatma in every individual being. Hence, everything is done by him very beautifully. The 16 principal creative elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, sky, and the 11 sense organs, first developed from the Lord himself, and were thereby shared by the living entities. Thus the material elements were created for the enjoyment of the living entities. The beautiful arrangement behind all material manifestation is therefore made possible by the energy of the Lord, and the individual living entity can only pray to the Lord to understand it properly. Since the Lord is the supreme entity, different from Shukadeva Goswami, the prayer can be offered to him. The Lord helps the living entity to enjoy material creation, but he is aloof from such a false enjoyment. Shukadeva Goswami prays for the mercy of the Lord, not only for being helped personally in presenting the truth, but also for helping others to whom he would like to speak. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Dadati Swapadandegi Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Anvitancha. May the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who, in his Purusha incarnation, causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of material modes which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. So here, in the first part of the purport, Prabhupada explains about the wonderful attitude of a devotee. Because generally, the mundane people who are having the materialistic attitude, what they do, anything is happened, and if they are involved in that, they want to take credit of that thing whole by themselves. Think that, because I was there, that's why it happened. Otherwise it would not have happened, and they are the cause of that thing. But devotees, even though miraculous things happen are done by them, but they never consider that these things are done by them. For example, Srila Prabhupada, when he established this society and so many temples around, thousands of disciples, so one of his disciples asked him, "It's wondrous thing that you have done, Prabhupada." Prabhupada immediately folded his hand and said, "It's not me. My spiritual master has God done this through me." So he passed on his wonderful things, the credits of that things to his spiritual master. And he said, by his mercy. Because every day we sing that Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra. The spiritual master is exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who empowers. Because whenever you get any instruction from your spiritual master, along with the instruction comes empowerment. That instruction itself is the empowerment through which you can get done the thing, and through which you can execute that instruction. And that's why here Prabhupada says a specific adjective that he has given to Shukadeva Goswami. He says, as a fully dependent devotee. So if you want to preach, what qualification needed for that? That is explained in the first line itself. That is, you need to be fully dependent on Krishna. Surrender. Then only, because then through you the Lord speaks. And that's what Prabhupada says in his song, Markine Bhagavad. Amito kashtera putali. My Lord, I am just like a wooden doll. The way you want to make me dance, make me dance. As he said that where you have brought me, that's the hellish place. Nobody knows anything about the spirituality. And you have brought me here to give them light of Bhagavad. I don't know what is your will, but I am fully surrendered unto you. So make me dance as you want. And when you surrender fully, then what happens? Wonders. That becomes the history, and the rest of the people, they spend their life to read that history. And that's what Shukadeva Goswami, he invokes the pleasure of the Lord. Oh my Lord, be pleased with me also and give me a strength for what? To disseminate the same knowledge that you have given to Brahmaji. Because it's you who is going to give me that knowledge, and I'm going to deliver it. I'm just like an amplifying instrument, nothing else. It's you who is speaking through me. And for that he gives example. Actually the whole verse, he says that everything that has been created by Lord Brahma, without the spiritual touch, it is useless. And from where that spiritual touch comes? Prabhupada explains in the purport that from the Supreme Spirit, and that is nothing but Lord Himself. Was that verse from Brahma Samhita? Yasya Jivanti Loma Vilajaha Jagadandanatha. From his Lomakupa, means pores, skin pores, the millions of Brahmandas they comes out. But unless and until he gives glance on them, they are not active. Nothing becomes mobilized. So that touch is from the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. And that's why he says, oh my Lord, without your touch, it's not possible that what I'm going to say is understandable by the audience. It's not that me who makes them understand, but it's you who make them understand. And then Prabhupada quotes it from a 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That Vedesha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit veda videvashchaham. Why? Because from him comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So if you want to remember something and understand something, who gives that intelligence? Because he sarvasya chaham hridaya sannivishto. Because he lives in your heart. And according to your inclination and desire, he gives you that intelligence through which you can understand him. By our own intelligence we can't understand. We can't understand ourselves. It takes actually whole lifetime to know ourselves, what we are, what qualities that we have, with what we have come along with. See, this astrology has not just one part of the Vedas. It is essential part for these studies, actually. Because unless and until you know yourself with what baggage you come along with, it's very difficult that what kind of a speed you can maintain to make progress in the spiritual life. You really need to know that what I came along with. And for that, that astrology is there. But people, to make a money, they have made that business actually. Rather than guiding the people, they are looting, they are just cheating people to make money. Because this Vedic knowledge has given us to facilitate us to make a progress in spiritual life. All parts, like all Shadangas. Nyaya, Tarka, then Vyakarana, Chanda, Jyotisha, and Mimamsa. All the Shadangas, they are meant for that only. So that we can, as per our baggage that we have come along with, and natural inclination, we can use it for making progress in spiritual life. And what it needs? A spiritual touch. So Shukadeva Goswami is directly praying to the Lord because he has that connection and we don't. So what we have to do? So we have to find a spiritual master who has direct touch with the Lord. Because this knowledge that comes from Parampara system. It's not by some Tom, Dick, Harry just wake up in the morning and says, I have realized and I'm a realized person and here is the philosophy. And actually West, there are so many people, they came, few came from India, few came from some other places and few born here. And they claim themselves as a big philosopher. And their philosophy died with them only. Because there is no spiritual, a potent spiritual touch. See, that's the difference between the Sampradaya and some cult. Sometimes they call ISKCON is cult, but it's not a cult created by some person. It is a parampara which descends from the origin source. It's not just man-made something, but it is a Paurusheya. So we have, like Prabhupada said, that just hang around. You are on the boat and you have to cross this material ocean. Anything happens, neglect, but just hang around this boat. Don't leave it. Because destination is fixed. This is going to the other end of this world. So we need that consistency. We need that firmness, that determination in our practice. As Shukadeva Goswami, see, he is such an elevated person. Before coming to this material world, when he was in the womb of a mother, Lord himself came and stood in front of him and Lord asked, okay, come out. Then he said, I will come, but make sure that your material energy, the external energy, Maya, should not touch me. And Lord assured him. And he came out, and what happened then? He just walked, He never looked back then. Such a surrendered person, he is praying to the Lord. Oh my Lord, please decorate my statements. It's you who is to make them understand what I'm going to speak. Because it's you who has given the spiritual awakening to Lord Brahma. You have given this transcendental message to Brahma, and that same message, you are giving it to me, and I'm delivering to them, because it's your message, it's not mine. Prabhupada says that he is not an independent interpreter. It's not he has given his own philosophy. But he had just repeated the things what Lord has awakened in his heart. So spiritual knowledge never comes by your own endeavor. Have you read Mahabharata? The Mahabharata starts with first story of Aurva Muni. He had 3 disciples. And those, how they enlighten with the knowledge, it's not by their own endeavor, but by the mercy of their spiritual master. Like Varuni, one of them. When he went to Aurva Muni, then Aurva Muni said that take these cows, go to the jungles and graze them. These are 100, when they become thousands, then you come back. Just imagine, you go to your spiritual master for the spiritual knowledge, and he tells you, go to the Goshala, take care of cows, now they are 10, when they become 100, you come, then you come, that's it. He never says that then I will give you knowledge on that. Will you be interested to take initiation from that person? No ways. We have seen actually. Because few of my god brothers, they came from the farmers community. But when they came and we started the farm community, they were not interested to go and render service there. Even the spiritual master asked. But this spiritual knowledge actually that get enlightened by the mercy of spiritual master. And how that happens, the first story of Mahabharata itself says. So Varuni, he went. So after a week or so, the spiritual master went and he saw how is his disciple. He saw that he is very healthy. And he said, what do you eat? He said that whenever all the cows, they graze and they breastfeed their calves. After calves, they drink the milk. I drink milk from their udder. He said, no, you should not do that. If that would have been done, then I would have got that milk for the Gurukul ashram. Because you are serving so nicely, so the calf, they are not drinking for their full capacity. They are keeping some milk for you. They should not do that. And I said, okay, I will not do that. After 15 days again he said, where is my disciple? Let me go and see. Again they went and he saw he is still healthy, stout and strong. They said, what do you do now? He says that whenever the calves, they drink the milk, there is some foam, that milk foam that comes on their face. He said, I lick that one. Then he said, no, you should not do that. Because you do such a wonderful service to them, so they keep that for you. They are not enjoying really that milk. So let them have it. So again he stopped that one. Then after another 15 or 20 days, he just asked for him and went to see him. Still he saw he is quite healthy. He said, how that's happening? Then he asked him, what do you do nowadays? He said, when all the cows, after grazing and all the calves, when they get done the breastfeeding and they go for sleep, then I go to beg. I do madhukari and get food. Then he said, whatever you beg, you should bring it to the Gurukul. You should not have that unless and until your spiritual master tells you. So he just took that and went to the ashram and started giving it. And his spiritual master never asked him that, take something from that. He just kept doing that. One day, no, actually this thing happened first, and then he started with the milk. When he stopped, asked him, don't beg the alms from the nearby villages. So lastly, after another 15-20 days, he went and saw that he was like not seen. They said, what happened to him? Then they started wandering in the jungles and shouting, Varuni, where are you, where are you? Then at one place they heard very thin voice, and then they went in that direction. They saw there is a big ditch in which he was fallen, and he was not able to see. He lost his eyesight. Then his Arvadhamya Muni asked, what happened to you? He said, nothing, Guruji. Actually, I was so hungry. I ate some dry leaves, and I ate that leaves and I became blind. Generally, aak, what do you call it in English? आग का पत्ता रहता है ना, हनुमान जी को ऑफर करते हैं. हनुमान जी गले माला डालते हैं ना. Okay, that is aak. In Sanskrit, it's called as aak. So he ate that one because it is a poisonous one. So he lost his eyesight. Then his spiritual master was so much pleased with him because he was totally surrendered to the instruction of spiritual master. Then he called up Ashwini Kumaras. He chanted a few mantras and he invoked Ashwini Kumaras. They came and he narrated the whole story. And then Ashwini Kumaras made some medicine and they offered him in the Malpuha, one of the sweets they made, and they put that medicine into that and they offered it to Varuni. Varuni, have it. Varuni said, let me ask my spiritual master. If he says, then I will take that. Then Arvadhamya said, okay, you have it. I have already honored by saying it, so now you can have it. So he ate that and he got his eyesight back. And then he asked him, what you are seeing now? So he started seeing all these Shrutis, Upanishads, all they are in the sky, waiting with a folding hands. And they are ready to enter in his body. Then Arvadhamya asked Varuni, what you are seeing here? Varuni said, I am seeing all these Shrutis and Veda mantras, they are standing and there is a competition between them. They wanted to enter in my body. So what should I do? Then his spiritual master said, okay, they are yours. So what do you want? He said that I want all of them together. So he got the whole knowledge. And then his spiritual master said, okay, now you are ready to go back and start your own ashram. So Mahabharata starts with this first story actually. And that shows if you want to understand the spiritual knowledge, then what is needed? Surrender to whom? Guru. And that's the spiritual touch by which you will get connected with the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. And that's what Shukadeva Goswami is asking the Lordship before starting or before beginning to explain the whole creation part, which is really complex. And that's why generally even devotees, they just skip the second canto and go for the Leela part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because unless and until you get the blessings of the spiritual master, you can't get this higher knowledge. So that's the conclusion of the purport that Prabhupada has given here. In the last line that Prabhupada says, the Lord helps the living entity to enjoy material creation, but he is aloof from such a false enjoyment. And Shukadeva prays for the mercy of the Lord, not only for being helped personally in presenting the truth, but also for helping others to whom he would like to speak. It's by the mercy of the Lord one can impart the knowledge and one can receive the knowledge. Even to receive the knowledge also, you need to have blessings of the Lord. So, any question or any comment?
How do we know that somebody they're really surrendered?
Oh, that's a good question. We have a right person to answer that, who has surrendered his life for the last 50 years, almost. How to understand, Prabhu? Because he is the better person who can tell you. He has passed on that mercy to maybe hundreds and thousands of people by distributing books.
We'll speak about it after the Kirtan.
So that will continue in the second session.
This way we'll get some realization first.
Okay. Actually, how to understand whether we are surrendered or not is when we do something whom we give credit. That shows whether you are surrendered to your ego or to someone who has empowered you to do these things. That's the simple thing that you can check it out.
If you say to yourself, I'm surrendered, then you're not.
No, actually that's the way in the beginning, You pretend first, and that will become a habit. And habits become the second nature. We are not surrendered to the Lord, but we are pretending, We are trying. Oh my Lord, I'm not, but let me. When spiritual master gives you name, he says Dasa. That means you are a Dasa from that day? You have accepted that thing? No. It takes the whole lifetime to become a really surrendered to the spiritual master, to become a really Dasa. But we accept and we try on that, That's the process. That's the way that you can learn. Otherwise nobody will come here, Because,
It's training also.
yeah. No. No, what he is asking that right now I am saying that I am surrendered. Is that the way that one can think that he is surrendered? But when one considers that he is surrendered, that means he is not surrendered. That's true.
So many people claim to be surrendered or claim to have devotion, but then you ask them to do something, and they say no. So what is their surrender and what is their devotion? So Prabhupada translates bhakti as devotional
Service, yeah.
Because unless there is action, what's the point? Like if the boy says to the girl, I love you, and then she says, can you bring the milk from the store? And he says, oh, I forgot. And she says, well, what kind of love is that? Like, you're not ready to do anything. So a lot of people talk a lot of things, but in actions you can actually see whether they're follow through with it. They are actually, as we say in America, put their money where their mouth is. So we need a little bit of reality check because it's easy to talk about things, but then to actually make the necessary adjustments in our life to back it up with action is not always so easy. Especially here we can see we're asking people to do certain things and to not do certain other things. And few people are ready for that. And if you have no rules and no strictures, and it's just nice talk, you can have a lot of people.
Yeah.
You can have music, you got some food. But the problem was very conscientious. Of course we should attract everybody. But you were talking about surrender. So
And actually, even
so this is supposed to be some humility, some inquiry, and some service attitude. These are the three symptoms of surrender. Otherwise they'll say, oh, I'll be surrendered when you give me the mercy. You have to first give me the blessings.
Actually, in Brahma Samhita, when Brahmaji he completes his prayers, then Lord he imparts 5 verses, knowledge in the 5 verses. The first one he says, Prabuddha Jnana Vijnana Sampanne Bhakti Anandamaya Chetaha. He says that if someone is fully empowered with the knowledge, who gained the knowledge, what is the symptom of gaining that knowledge? He is Bhakti Maya Ananda Chinmaya. He becomes Bhakti Maya. And specifically Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that. Bhakti Maya means here he says that devotional service. He renders some service. If you know, you got the knowledge, and if you are Prabuddha means you became a knowledgeable, then what is the next symptoms? That you engage yourself in the service of the Lord. Surrendered means who engaged in the service of the Lord. That's the simple terminology. You can understand whether you are surrendered or not. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Antara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you so much.